Vaccine doubts fuel Dr. Scott Jensen's rise in Minnesota governor race. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shhh, It Matters, where we take a look at the news and just unpack, give our opinions in everything like local news, political news, fun entertainment news, and this show, this is our local segment.
Wait. Welcome to today's main event. Weighing in at 100 Matt Logan.
Hanging out with me today is
Craig Uglin. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram.
So let's get into this, and I'm excited to share opinion here, but let's read a little bit of the news. The small-town family doctor aligning to become Minnesota's next governor smiled, leaned into the camera, and told his Facebook viewers that Sweden had just paused the Moderna vaccine for people under age 30 over significant concern about heart inflammation. Dr. Scott Jensen, clad in a white lab coat, quickly pivoted. So what happens to military people who are threatened with a dishonorable discharge if they are unwilling to potentially put their heart health at risk? The post swiftly racked up thousands of views and favorable comments, evidence of Jensen's early success in tapping conservative anger at the Democratic strategy of trying to vaccinate, mask, and social distance America out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Messages like the video have been a key part of how Jensen, a former state senator with a reputation as a moderate before the pandemic hit, has emerged as the early frontrunner among Republicans seeking to unseat Democrat Governor Tim Walz. It's a good article, could keep going, but boy, let's weigh in on this.
It is a good article. There's a lot of information in here on I think it's a lot of opinion from WCCO of right here they stated he's very moderate, but then they're trying to pigeonhole him as a Trumper, which I don't think he is. But they're saying that because he is questioning the vaccine, well, he must be a Trumper, and we gotta push him to the alt-right, which he obviously isn't.
Well, Trump pushed the vaccine, and he is vaccinated.
Right.
So there's that fact.
Right. But there's just, paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, they're completely trying to discredit Dr. Jensen. You know, here's a man that's been a family physician for 30 plus years. He was a state senator. Obviously, he's not an idiot, but they're trying to push him down that hole.
Not WCCO.
Oh, well, I used to like them, but I don't know. Just stuff like this makes me question. And they do talk about the four, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, the four complaints filed with the Minnesota medical board to get him his license pulled that were all dismissed. I mean, they mentioned that, so they're hopping on both sides of the fence of, he's a quack doctor, but yet these cases were dismissed, and to me it seems like it's a very politically motivated article.
Yeah, I got to say, Senator Matt Klein, a Democrat, this is right out of the article, which the article we will put in the link. We'll put a link to the article here in the video or the audio if you're listening. But Senator Matt Klein, a Democrat and fellow doctor who got to know Jensen in the legislature, said he's astonished at what he's heard from Jensen during the pandemic. I'm seeing patients that are actively being harmed or dying from sort of misinformation that he is propagating, Klein said. It's from sort of misinformation? What does that even mean? I read that and I'm like, that says nothing.
Right.
All that does is what people hear, and that's why we're doing this show, is to really dissect it. But what people hear is like, oh, well, people are dying from what Jensen is saying, Dr. Jensen. That's not true.
Right. People are dying from their sicknesses and their pre-existing conditions. They might happen to have COVID at the same time.
Right.
Like Colin Powell that just passed away.
Yeah, and that's a very good point in framing things, right?
He didn't die from COVID. He had terminal cancer.
Exactly.
He just happened to have COVID in his system.
By the way, he was vaccinated.
Yes.
So,
but that goes into what really put Dr. Jensen on the radar, is he was questioning exactly what the situation with Colin Powell. Why is somebody that obviously dies from injuries from a car accident, why is that considered a COVID death?
Right. It's money. Follow the money.
Yeah, that's what kind of really put him in everybody's sights of, maybe we need to rethink what's going on here. And he was kind of the poster child of that, in my opinion. I mean, he brought things to people's attention. So, we're a year away from our next election, and they're already trying to cut him off with the knees.
I agree. They don't want somebody like Jensen, Dr. Scott Jensen, to be in there, because he has, from what I can see, and in my opinion of what I've followed so far, he has a pretty good chance of dethroning, and I say that quite literally, dethroning Democrat Tim Walz, because clearly he thinks it's a throne.
Right.
Tim Walz comes out and says, after 15 or 16 months that they finally vote nearly unanimously to take away his emergency powers, that he says, oh, good, finally I'm able to, unload this burden or whatever, how I'm paraphrasing, but he clearly has the wrong mentality, in my opinion, to run a constitutional republic state. We have a constitution of the United States, we have a constitution of Minnesota.
He could have given up that power at any
Nobody
time.
gave them to him, he took them.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody gave them to him.
But I mean, he could have relinquished that power at any time.
He didn't need to take it in the first place.
Well, I agreed. And you talked about Dr. Klein, the other senator, and they touched on this in the article, is he had this respect for Dr. Jensen, especially when former Governor Dayton had passed out at the podium, and Dr. Jensen jumped in and helped in that situation. So here you have another former senator praising Dr. Jensen for being such a good doctor and right on top of things. But yeah, we're going to discredit him because he doesn't believe the same science that we believe. And they touch on this in this article and in comments, is medicine isn't perfect, and medicine is ever evolving. Science is ever evolving. And it just goes back to what we've talked about on the show multiple times, is what's wrong with questioning the science? Doctors used to prescribe, they used to recommend cigarettes and heroin and cocaine and our medications.
Well, what about that movie that's just coming out, the opioid thing? I mean,
right.
There's a movie, I think it's just released or releasing soon, that they talk about how the pharmaceutical companies showed the science to these really small town doctors in general, and swayed them into the opioid crisis that we had. Prescribe the medicine, and it's like these things are happening in my lifetime, and everybody says, no, look the other way, not to question the science. Well, we better start questioning the science, or we're going to have a bigger crisis.
Right.
In my opinion.
The war on drugs is now going to be the war on pharmacies, because they're the ones pushing the drugs.
Yeah, for sure.
Follow the money.
Yep, follow the money every time. And what is it? I better not say the numbers, but there is an article that I read, and I just can't remember the numbers, but it said that a massive percentage of Pfizer, their 2021 numbers come from the vaccine.
Oh, I'm sure.
Paid for by the taxpayers of the United States.
It'll be interesting to see what their books look like for the 2020, 2021 compared to the previous decade. And
it's billions.
If there is a spike, and I'm assuming there will be, and how big of a spike that is.
So the reason I say that is Dr. Scott Jensen has come out and questioned these things so that we can say, hey, this is no different than this over here that we found out later that they were lying to us. And this is, and that's kind of what his point is. I in some of the videos I see is like, just look, do your research, look at it. He's a very big proponent of that.
Right. Do some critical thinking, take a step back and look at the big picture and think outside the box of what you're being told.
So I want to cheer on Scott Jensen. Dr. Scott Jensen is seemingly been transparent. He's talked about how he had COVID. He's all in the immunity that he has, and so he gives his blood for research. I believe I saw a video, and you'd have to fact check me on that, please. Like I say. Or we all say here, go do your research and look some of this stuff up on your own. And that's what it takes. Don't just listen to us. Don't just listen to CNN or Fox or CBS or whatever, MSNBC. Go look and do the research and cross-reference things. It's super important. Right.
And they talk about that in the article a little bit, is that he had a mild case of COVID, and because of that, he grew some natural immunities or antibodies. So he decided it wasn't necessary for him to get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm. I've never once heard him say, anti-vax anything.
Right. He's not an anti-vaxxer. He's questioning this vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Which is a shot, not a vaccine.
The more and more I think about it, to me it seems like a flu shot. And what happens every year, you get a booster for your flu shot.
Right.
Is this just a hyped up flu?
And they there's a lot of people that they say not to take the flu shot because it is it has adverse effects.
Right.
And now they want a dictator to decide. Everybody gets a shot. Mandate.
Or you lose your job.
I'm just boy, it's tough.
Yeah.
Anything else on Dr. Scott Jensen in this fiasco that we have going on here?
The article does mention, and it was nice to see that coming from him, is that he's really been, everybody just talks about COVID in regards to Dr. Jensen, and he has said there's a lot more to the governor position than COVID. Can we please start talking about some other issues that are important in the state? So it's refreshing to see that coming from him. Like, can we please talk about something else for a change? This is getting old too.
Yeah, and it's been weaponized.
Yeah,
COVID has been weaponized.
With my campaign last year, it really woke me up to how important local elections are, and I really hope that next year and all the following years, as people really, really pay attention to your local elections. We're seeing what happens right now with, Governor Walz winning the last election and how much of an impact that has on our lives right now. And the presidential election is what it is, but that's not the only election out there. It's these smaller ones probably have a bigger effect on our day-to-day lives than the presidential election ever could.
Yeah.
Maybe except for this go-round, but pay attention. Watch some debates and do your research before you vote.
I would say because of the local people in place like Tim Walz, they go along with our current president and mandating the heck out of everything, frankly. And I mean, literally, there's not a law, which a law means what? Majority vote. There's no law for vaccines. There's no law for masks. It's a mandate.
It's a mandate.
And you need to think about what that is and what that means and what that can look like for the future.
Right.
This is just a little drop.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few months. It'll be interesting to see what happens, locally with Mayo's mandates and nationally on, Southwest Airlines.
Yep.
Which that's a whole other conversation there.
It is.
But
hey, thanks for joining us. Make sure that you hammer out a comment. Make sure you hammer the like button. You hammer the share button. Leave us a review. 5 stars Can we get 8 stars? Can we go for 8? No, wait, it's only 5, isn't it?
10. Just
10?
do 5 stars twice.
Just do 5. Perfect.
Yeah.
Go in and log in under someone else and give us 2 5 stars.
Perfect.
Thanks for hanging out with me today. Craig, where can we find you?
You can find me, Craig Ugland, on Facebook and Instagram.
See you next time.